The mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, joins us now. Also with us, Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial writer for The Washington Post and MSNBC contributor Jonathan Capehart. Jonathan Lemire is still with us as well. Mayor, thank you so much for being with us. Let me just ask, how did last night go in terms of the protests? Is violence down? Policing issues, are they calming down in your city? Where does Washington, D.C. stand?
Well, let me be clear about this, Joe. We have had peaceful protests in Washington, D.C. All week. Last weekend, we saw a small group of people disrupt peaceful protests, and certainly our police department, the Metropolitan Police Department, will deal with those issues, investigate those issues fully. Saturday, what we saw were our largest crowds, peaceful crowds who were coming from all points of Washington, D.C., converging on Black Lives Matter Plaza to redress their grievances and demand a more just system.
And how are the Washington police handling this? Have they, for the most part, been respectful of the protesters? Do you have any specific concerns or any serious concerns systemically?
Our police, Joe, work with First Amendment demonstrations for their entire history. We're proud to be host to the nation's capital. We host very large events, and our police department is, in my view, the best in the nation in dealing with large events.
Let me ask you really quickly about something that's happening in Minneapolis. And Reverend Al and I talked about this earlier. A lot of people talking about defunding the police, abolishing municipal police departments. Reverend Al had suggested earlier that it was more symbolic, that it's not an actual abolishment of, like, for instance, the Minneapolis Police Department, but they're actually talking more about reform. Let me ask you what you think about this defunding movement, understanding that, yes, the disproportionate number of police abuse issues involve Black Americans, but also a disproportionate number of victims of crime also obviously are Black Americans. How do we sort through these things? How do you sort through these issues as mayor of Washington, D.C.?
Well, I think we have to start by listening and recognizing that young people who are speaking to their elected officials want us to hear their experience, and they're demanding change, and they're not going to go away. So we have to all be open to looking at our policies, looking at our forces, and making sure that they are fair and just. And we certainly can't paint every police department in the same way. I know about public safety in Washington, D.C. I know the investments that we make in policing are part of our strategies, but we also make investments in violence intervention in our schools and on our streets. We make investments in mental health diversion programs. We make investments in job training, and we especially make investments in our schools. Even in the time where our budget took a $800 million hit due to COVID-19 lockdowns, I was able to send to our council an increase in schools funding for our public schools of 3%. So there are lots of parts that make up our public safety system, and we in local government have to make sure we're attacking the public safety issues not just from enforcement, but also from opportunity and intervention.
Mayor Bowser, Jonathan Capehart is with us, and he has a question for you. Jonathan.
Yes. Hi, Mayor Bowser.
Hi,
it's great to see you again. Saw you yesterday. I'm going to ask you on Morning Joe what what I asked you yesterday, and that is stenciling, having a mural, Black Lives Matter, in huge block letters across 3 blocks leading up to the White House. As I said to you on a Sunday, badass move that you made. Talk about why you decided to answer the president's taunts and tweets in that manner.
Well, let me just say, Jonathan, you know this well, and Joe knows this well, that we saw in Washington, D.C., federal forces used in a political stunt to attack peaceful protests in Washington, D.C. We saw the American military moved around our country like toy soldiers to intimidate Americans in Washington, D.C. The finest military in the world should never be used in that way. And Americans across the country should be scared about that. People also need to know that 700,000 taxpayers in America's capital don't have 2 senators or a vote in the Congress, and that's why we demand statehood. The Black Lives Matter mural is a representation of an expression of our saying no, but also identifying and claiming a part of our city that had been taken over by federal forces to make it a place for healing, strategizing, protest, and redress, which is the greatest statement we can make as Americans and Black Americans who want to be recognized for human beings and have our lives matter.
Jonathan Capehart, I know you have a follow-up question, but you ran into a dear friend of mine who was also, we called ourselves traveling buddies in Congress, but of course, he's a civil rights icon, legend, John Lewis, yesterday. Tell us about that.
It was an honor to be there with him. You know, people forget that history is cyclical. And for John Lewis, who I know, as you know and have discussed in the show, there at the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge and was beaten, clubbed about the head by law enforcement in Alabama, standing up for the right of African Americans to vote. Here we are more than 50 years later, talking about law enforcement and the disproportionate treatment and violence against African Americans. And for him, his desire to be there, to see Black Lives Matter on 16th Street, to be able to stand there, to look at this man and to be there with this man who was there for me, for us, before I was born, still here, fighting the good fight. Remember, he is fighting, I believe it's stage 4 cancer. Despite his cancer, despite a global pandemic, he felt moved and compelled to stand and bear witness to those marchers, those protesters who are carrying on a tradition that he was a part of as a very young man in his 20s. You know, about a mile away from the Lincoln Memorial, where he was the youngest person to speak in Washington, and now he's 80 years old and standing and bearing witness to the ongoing work.
Wow. Jonathan Lemire is with us. He has a question for you, Mayor. Jonathan.
Thank you.
Mayor Bowser, good to see you. You know, obviously, as just discussed, the Black Lives Matter written in huge letters on the street there. The plaza's been renamed after it. My question to you is quite simple. Since you did these things the last couple of days, have you heard from the White House about this? And if you do, what will your response be?
I haven't heard from the White House about it. And we simply, and I expect that we will have further discussions with the White House. As the mayor of Washington, D.C., we always have discussions with the President of the United States. And our issues would be whatever issues we have to bring with them for them to address. I don't expect that we would necessarily hear from them about the public art on a D.C. street, but they recognize that we as Washingtonians have to stand up for our city. And in this case, I think we have a special responsibility to stand up for our nation.
All right. Well, you certainly are doing that. Mayor Muriel Bowser, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for your leadership. We are so grateful. Coming up next, several reports that prominent Republicans will not be voting for Donald Trump. We're going to be discussing the dynamics of their decision ahead on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.